All right, guys, we are back once again, and we're talking about the hype that is going down with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and something that's kind of shocking me with this game that Nintendo is doing, and I think that it's going to lead for a lot of surprises with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, how this game does, what the game actually is, what Monolith Soft is doing. This is going to be incredible. I can already see the signs of it. Then we're going to talk about some Super Mario RPG action. Could it be returning? Yo, you will have to hear my take on this one. And of course, we've got Capcom. Mysterious game coming. Could it be the new Resident Evil? Well, we'll give you guys all the details in just a bit. But before we get into any of that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's go ahead and first start off with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, we know the big reveal was last week. I think I'm going to talk about it every single day till it comes out. So we do have a number of months left, but I see some differences. I see some big differences between Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and what Nintendo was saying there. How we saw the game, how it looked, what was going on with that game compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. There are a number of differences. Now, Monolith Soft did a good job themselves of kind of hyping things up and talking about the game, but I think that the original impact of the reveal trailer hit a far more bigger audience. Obviously, now that the Switch is 100 million units sold, and the fact that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the best-selling Monolith Soft game of all time, and the fact that Xenoblade has just got this more of a stature at this point now than before. Because remember, since the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, we had Definitive Edition, and we also had Torna as well. So there's been two separate Xenoblade releases. Plus, you can add in, I guess, with the Definitive Edition Future Connected. So 3 separate campaign type of things that you can play in the Xenoblade universe. Plus, we've heard a lot more about Monolith Soft as a staff in terms of where they've helped out with on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, what they've done before in the past, if you didn't already know. So their status in terms of what they've been doing, their games, and with Nintendo have all been going up and up and up since then. And more people are looking at their games and saying, okay, I'm going to try it out. Okay, what's this game about? And of course, can't forget the big one. I almost did. The fact that they were in Pyra Mytha with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That was a huge marketing push, and obviously a very calculated one because they knew Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was coming. So yeah, you want to get some more people on the Xenoblade franchise, get people hyped up to play the game. So very good on their part when it comes to that. Now, I do want to discuss this because Nintendo is taking a little bit of a different route that maybe we didn't see last time. Now, it probably is because their social media presence is so much bigger now at this point, especially Twitter. But on Twitter, they're dropping more information. Now, it's stuff that we talked about in our deep dive that we went over this week on the channel. But at the same time, they're still reinforcing these things. So if you didn't see it on a video, or if you didn't see it on a website, or if you didn't see it on their site when they talked about it, they want to make sure that an audience hears about these characters. They see about these characters and what's going on here. And they haven't went over the main hook when it comes to the combat in the game and how they're going to handle that. But everything is shaping up to be a pretty interesting fusion of styles that we've seen in previous Xenoblade games based on some of the little things that they've said. If you read the descriptions when they talk about Mio, the character, how she fights with blazing fast speed, and I'm paraphrasing and all of that, but they talk about that and her role compared to Noah's role and kind of setting up a dual protagonist, potentially even two sides of a coin type of story, and how you come together in order to beat the greater evil or the greater push, which they do say in the video or in the debut trailer. Oh, well, this is the real enemy. So it's kind of shaping up towards that. But I love the marketing push. I love the push on Twitter, constantly reinforcing and also pinning the trailer. Out of all the different video games that they had the Battle League, Wii Sports, all these different games that you can say potentially could have more universal appeal than a Xenoblade Chronicles. What was pinned on their Twitter page? Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is exactly what the franchise needs to take the next step. And I talked about this before, I'll talk about it again, and I'll keep on saying it every time till I get it through to every ignorant Nintendo fan's mind when it comes down to this. Nintendo is more than Mario and Zelda. We can see more than that. Other franchises can rise up to the level of other franchises out there. Listen, I know it's not Mario and Zelda, but I'm very thankful that Nintendo's willing to put in the work, the time, and the effort, and the budget, because this is not a cheap game by any means. The budget to make Monolith Soft's dreams come true and into fruition with what they want to make in their game, and then to market it that way and not give up on the franchise because it doesn't sell 10 million copies. We've seen Sony give up on multiple franchises because they don't sell 10 million copies or whatever the case is. Gravity Rush, heck, a whole studio got shut down at the end of the day. Now, Nintendo's given up on some of those franchises, right? When it comes to like F-Zero and stuff like that. Well, not giving up completely, but those have been dormant. But with Xenoblade, Nintendo did not give up on it. They saw the potential after we struggled just to even get it out here. So I love the tenacity from Nintendo on that, to stick with it and now consistently building your sales and building your sales and building your sales to the point to where this Xenoblade game has a very good opportunity. And I would be shocked if it didn't sell at least minimum of 2.5 to 3 million copies, which would be a record for the Xenoblade franchise and a lot of money into Nintendo's pockets, because you know there's going to be the special edition, you know that there's going to be some probably DLC. They did Torna DLC right before that, so I think that there's definitely going to be some DLC or some season passes or whatever the case is. You're going to get a ton of content in this game. It's going to be a full experience through in and throughout. So I see this building up, and they're trying to build this into a great RPG franchise that can rival the likes of a Final Fantasy or rival the likes of a Kingdom Hearts or some of these games that have that history as well. But when it comes to quality, it's right up there with all of them. But you have to start somewhere. Remember, Final Fantasy, much older. Kingdom Hearts is older than Xenoblade. Xenoblade's a newer end franchise. It just started in 2010. So it's not like it's been around for decades at this point, or even more than 15 years. So they're still building the legacy of this franchise and what they're going to do. And each game can get better and better and better in lots of different aspects. And that's why I say with this one, with Takahashi Team 1 and the marketing push that we're already seeing, Nintendo knows and Monolith Soft knows that they have something gold here. I know that they have something absolutely gold here that could be one of the best, or if not the best reviewed JRPG for this year. So I think that it's heading towards that way. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition did extremely well, sales-wise for a Wii U remaster, and also reviews-wise, right up there at the top of JRPGs when it comes to all-time rankings, reviews-wise. So I think that this one is kind of rolling off of that, and I fully expect it to be right up there with the Definitive Edition when it comes to reviews and the scores there, and maybe even a bit higher, and of course surpassing the sales of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which took quite a number of years to even get to 2 million. But I think that this game is going to be more intelligently designed. I think that the character designs and some of the controversy that was behind that is behind us at this point, because the characters are more grounded in their design. And I think that the world is going to run better, look better, and play better on the Nintendo Switch. Now that they have their third outing, fourth, I guess if you count everything with the Future Connect and also Definitive Edition, which is part of it, then Torna and 2. But regardless of it, the fact that they have so much experience now and it's Takahashi Team 1, something just tells me this game's gonna go ham, with Nintendo really pushing it more than any other game in that Nintendo Direct. And that's exactly what I love to see. I love to see that confidence, and that's why I'm confident right now here. But we're gonna have to wait and see on it, guys. I will be on the forefront of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 coverage, so make sure you stay tuned here. But what are your thoughts on this when it comes to it? How do you like the push from Nintendo here? What do you feel is going to be some of the new hooks in this game? I'm looking through the comments, so I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. All right, so now we have a potential Super Mario RPG 2 sighting. Well, it could happen. Never say never after what, almost 30 years at this point. The director of the game has stated that he would love to make a new Super Mario RPG. And to be honest, with the Nintendo Switch and the fact that we're getting so many retro games and old school Super Nintendo games being remade and brought back and anything, I think that this is a very high possibility, especially after what he has to say here. So let's go ahead and get into his comments here. So it's Chihiro Fujikawa. He was the director of Super Mario RPG, one of the greatest games on the Super Nintendo, one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Now, he has expressed interest in making a Super Mario RPG 2 to close out his career, the Super Bowl run or something like that, right? So recently, he's worked on various different titles all the way back to the 80s. The guy is a legend in his own right, and that includes several of the entries of games that you guys love, like the Mario and Luigi series from Alpha Dream. Now, we do know that he co-founded that, or if you didn't know, now you know, he co-founded that. And he did leave the studio back in 2015. They shuttered their doors back in 2019 after filing for bankruptcy. The last Mario and Luigi game didn't do so hot on the Nintendo 3DS, but that was a mistake having it on the Nintendo 3DS. But either way, his interest, Super Mario RPG 2. They talked about this. This was in a recent interview with Min Max. Here's what he had to say. Quote, "Yeah, I would absolutely love to make one. In my career, I've been involved with a lot of games, and I would really like my final one to be another Mario RPG game if possible. I think Mario and Luigi is cool, but I would like to go back and create a Mario RPG where you're only controlling Mario." But here's the reason why I think that this is way more possible now than it was back before. Now, Nintendo's gotten rid of the Mario and Luigi series at this point, right? I mean, we're not going to really see it unless they decide to bring it back. But one of the key features or reasons why that Paper Mario went to what it went to was because of the Mario and Luigi series. They said, okay, well, it's going to be redundant if we have two RPG core series out there. Now, obviously, Mario and Luigi is not around anymore at this point. I'm not sure when we're going to see another one, but if they did do another Mario RPG, which the Mario and Luigi games were, it would have to be more on the line of what a console game would be now that Nintendo has moved over to the Switch, which is a hybrid. So I fully believe that Nintendo probably would like to get another Mario RPG. And if you look at the relationship between Square Enix and Nintendo, it is very possible that they work together on another Mario RPG. So much to the fact that it just gave me chills thinking at all of the cool stuff that Square Enix and Nintendo have done, all of the Super Nintendo inspired games that have came back and have done extremely well, selling millions of copies on the Nintendo Switch. Old school is now the new school at this point, and a lot of Nintendo fans and a lot of just fans out there with the Switch love to see these HD 2D games being brought back, love to see all of these classic games being brought back, these games that never came over to the West, whether they're remaking them in modern end graphics like Trials of Mana, or they're bringing it back that's never been released like Live Alive, or they're doing stuff that's brand new like Octopath Traveler. This has been the best for the Super Nintendo era and for the old school era. The Switch has brought the best out of that, and I think that this is a very good opportunity, if it's not already happening or somewhat in the works, for them to bring back Super Mario RPG. You don't have the Mario and Luigi Saga series to really worry about, say, okay, it's taking sales from there. You don't really have the Paper Mario series doing anything that's like a core RPG anymore. So now is the time, and I think that they will start getting this done. This is a prediction on my end. I can't, of course, say anything. There's not any proof or any facts or anything like that. I don't have any sources with this right now, but I personally feel there's a heavy possibility that we could see it come back. It's just the right timing. It's the right era. It's just the right everything with it. And I feel that, once again, the great relationship between Nintendo and Square Enix is the reason why this can happen. Heck, if Live Alive can be brought out after, what, almost 3 decades, you know, we're going on 3 decades of this, I think that, yeah, Super Mario RPG can come back and come back in a big way. People want to play a Mario RPG experience on the Nintendo Switch outside of Mario plus Rabbids, which is great, but that's the strategy RPG. We want to play that classic Mario RPG out there. So please, let's get this done. Let's get it done. Fans out there, show the support, show the love, show the likes, all that good stuff. When you start seeing articles like this, share it, let people know this is a possibility. So I'm happy. I'm thinking that it could happen. So what do you guys think about this? Is there a shot for Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG, how dare me put that out there, Super Mario RPG to come back with a sequel to round out his career? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got a mysterious Capcom teaser. Ooh, and recently we just got some Resident Evil 4 remake rumors, leaks coming out. Could this be the Resident Evil 4 remake? Could this be the Nintendo Switch focused Resident Evil Outrage, or whatever the heck it is, Revelations 3? Could it be something? It does seem like it. It does seem like it. So let's talk about this. Capcom launches a website, a countdown website. This is old school marketing, baby. ends on February 22nd. So Capcom has launched a new countdown website, which will end on February 20th at 10 p.m. PT / February 21st at 1 a.m. ET. Haha. All you East Coast dudes gotta wait longer for this one. Now, the website does not offer any further information or hints at what will happen when the countdown reaches 0. So we need to stay tuned on that one. And yes, I'm thinking that this could be a couple different things. I'm a big Capcom fan myself, so I'm excited to talk about this. And I think that this could definitely be the next Resident Evil remake. So Resident Evil 4 remake. We just got rumors about what they're going to be doing with the game. They're reworking some of the stuff, the graphics, all that good stuff. So Resident Evil 4 has been played and beat like legitimately a billion times. It's like Skyrim's little brother when it comes to porting. You know, it's been like ported to everything. But Skyrim still has a beat because I can play Skyrim on my Alexa device. So yeah, it still has a beat. But Resident Evil 4 has been ported to so many different systems out there. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how hyped the fans get for this one, since it's just been played so many times, and exactly what they do to change up the formula. Resident Evil 3 did well. I mean, obviously it wasn't as highly received as Resident Evil 2, but people love Leon S. Kennedy. I'm thinking that Leon is probably the most loved character in Resident Evil franchise history throughout the fans. His games usually turn out to be the best ones. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 4. A lot of the best games are associated with Leon being that main or playable character. So I think that Resident Evil 4 Remake is not only going to reach a lot of new players out there that somehow still haven't played Resident Evil 4, but also the old school players are just going to be curious. So I think it's really going to be based on how this game looks. But is it the countdown game? Not so sure about that. Now, the other option here could be the new Resident Evil game that was rumored, or more like leaked, in the Capcom leak that was coming, or at least that was focused on the Nintendo Switch, like Resident Evil Revelations was originally with the first Revelations game. Then, of course, Resident Evil Revelations 2 came to the Nintendo Switch, and it's really good on there. Resident Evil Revelations 1 came there as well. They're both really good on the system. So it is possible that we do see Resident Evil Revelations 3 or The Outbreak or whatever it's called when it comes down to it, because that was in that Capcom leak, and pretty much everything that was in that Capcom leak has happened at this point almost in order. So there could be a number of things, or it could be a blend or a hybrid of the two. Hey, we've got Resident Evil over here for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. We've got this Resident Evil over here for Nintendo Switch owners. It's like a win-win, cool Resident Evil for everyone. So that could be the possibility here, or maybe it's something completely different. My wishful thinking says, hey, it's a brand new Beautiful Joe 3 or something like that. No, it's probably not going to be that at all, but that would be nice. That would be nice, but it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what this is, because I'm hyped up to play Capcom games. You know, I'm not a huge fan of first-person Resident Evil, so I kind of skipped out on the Resident Evil Village. I'll pick it up once it's like super cheap, which it already is. But I'm hoping that this is back to the third-person Resident Evil. If it's Resident Evil 4 Remake, if it's a brand new Resident Evil game, if it's something else like that, that would be great. Capcom has so many IPs, you just don't know what this is going to be. It's just kind of shaping up like it could be a Resident Evil game based off of some of the rumors that we've gotten recently, but it might be something completely different. So we're going to have to wait and see what this countdown trailer is all about. But what are your thoughts on everything overall that we discussed here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.